Recording is officially in progress. And welcome everyone to the March 2025 Evergreen Cataloging Interest Group. I am Jennifer Weston, the facilitator of this fine group, and as always, the list of the organizing committees at the top of this agenda. If anybody's newly joining us, or has not joined us in a while, as a reminder, the agenda that you should all have a link to now in the chat. It should be available for everybody to take notes on. If not, I will adjust that now so you can take notes as we go along, and then we'll just share this on the wiki after this call so that the notes will be shared along with the recording. Is usually up in 24 to 48 hours. If I forget, somebody always reminds me, so thank you. Okay. Now we've got a lot of folks here today. I did want to repeat what I said just before we were getting started, is we did have to reschedule this month's meeting. And so the official program for this month was supposed to be looking at Aspen and Evergreen. And we're going to have a guest speaker. That has been moved to April. So that'll happen on our regular meeting on April the 8th. Today, we're just going to kind of go through some business stuff. We've had a lot happened since the last time we got together. I guess not most importantly, but the most recent and exciting thing that's happened is 3.15 beta came out. So we have the 3.15 release came out not today. Why did I put 326? Because I was typing in a hurry, but it came out, recently-ish.
No, it is scheduled for today, I think. Not quite here
Okay.
yet.
Thanks. Perfect. So it wasn't me typing quickly. Thanks. Anyway, so that is out, and we can talk about that. So we have links to the release notes, and then we can just kind of go through some of the other things. We're going to take advantage of Stephanie being here with us today, who's been working on a lot of bugs that are related to the cataloging world, related to accessibility, to user experience, um, um, all of these things that we can talk about kind of the status of where we are with a few of them. Stephanie, I did say since we don't have a particular speaker, if you'd like to go first, and then we can come back and go through some of the business things, because Stephanie is also presenting at another conference here within the hour.
In about an hour. If you wouldn't mind giving me edit access to the agenda, I'll just paste this in on top
Sure.
of the bug list real quick. We have several of them that have been fixed, several of them that will be committed but aren't yet because we're in freeze this week for beta. They're bug fixes, so they'll still go in probably next week. We have a few that are going to need sign-offs during Feedback Fest next week. And I'm going to paste that list here in just a moment. Here we go. Thank you, Jennifer. I'm just going to dump that in, and then I'll make these links. Whoa. Okay, that did bad things with bullets, but I'll fix it. Okay, so here is our giant list. Several of these were duplicates, and they don't look like duplicates. So let me just start up at the top. And go through these. Okay. So the first one I wanted to ask you about, this one is the one about getting into a subfield when you've tabbed over using the keyboard. And there was a bug filed that you have to click into the field, and you don't. It's just that the keyboard shortcut to get in there is not obvious, I think. So I wanted to ask if the one that we have set up is okay, or if you want a different one. If it's good, let's close that bug. And if you want a different one, let's discuss in the comments there. So that one, I think we don't. It's not a big deal to add another shortcut. So that one, if you want something different, we'll get it fixed really quickly.
And so let's just read it real quick then. So pressing tab from the second indicator should place the focus group on the group of inputs. So pressing tab from the second indicator, I've got is this in 3, 4? Yes, so we should be able to find it in the community demo. Let me see if I can open the community demo real quick, and we can look at it real quick so people can see what we're talking about. Okay, so the shortcut is, Stephanie, if you will walk me through it. If I am on the Mark editor, the enhanced Mark editor, and the bug is...
So you need to be in one of the data fields.
One of the data fields. go back down here. This says the keyboard shortcut to edit a subfield.
Mhm.
So I need to be in a subfield. Subfield, subfield, subfield. Let's find
Well,
more. So
start, yeah, that's fine. Okay.
okay.
So you clicked it, you can edit it. Now press tab like twice.
Okay.
One more.
Hmm.
Okay, you see how you get the whole group?
I do.
And then if you press tab again, you'll get the next whole group. So the
Uh-huh.
question was, how do I get in there?
Hmm.
And the answer is, I put it in I think it's shift right arrow.
I was going to go back to the notes. Shift. I'll try shift right arrow. Shift. Okay, let me go back here.
There might be control shift. Shoot.
Okay, that's
Let me
okay.
read
So
it.
shift right arrow. Let's read the
Let's read.
instructions that
Read
are
what I
so
said.
handily put in there. Okay, in your example, let me highlight right there. Get into the group. Press the right arrow key.
Oh, they're
There,
it's
get into
just
the
the right arrow.
just right arrow. Okay,
Yeah, it's so
let's go
easy.
back. Right arrow. Ah, look at that. Right arrow worked.
Well, no, so yeah, so you have to be highlighting the whole group. So tab over again until you get a group. There you go.
Back
Now press right arrow.
there.
Ah, there you go.
Got it.
That's it.
All right. So one more
And from
time
there you
for
press tab.
everybody following along. Yeah. So the question is, do we like this now that we know what it is? Tab over, tab over, tab. So it selects the whole group to actually be able to get in there because there we go. If I want to use the keyboard, oops, stop doing that,
Mhm.
Jennifer. There we go. Then I just do right
Right.
arrow.
And from there you press tab and you get those four individual spots for the code, the subfield data, the delete button, and the add subfield here button.
Got it. Over there, you mean over here on the right
Nope,
on
nope,
my
nope.
arrow. Nope, no, not at all.
Not
Mm-mm.
at, so yeah, there. Each of those four things in that subfield group has its own tab key. That's why we grouped it
Got it.
so that you could
So
tab
there's the
across
X.
all of that.
If I just tab, there we go. So
Hmm.
one more time, because I was a terrible demo.
It's okay.
There.
Press.
So
Okay, there.
big group,
Hmm.
right arrow key takes me
Yep.
into the subfield.
And then
Then
you
I
can tab normally.
tab and I could change the value and field.
Mhm.
I can tab and I get to the X. I can tab and I get to the add
Right.
button.
And then you
Okay.
tab again, you get to the next group. There you
And
go.
then I have to hit the right arrow again and then I can
Mhm.
do it.
I know it's a little confusing.
That's okay.
But when you have like five subfields, that's going to be 20 tab stops if we don't group it. So
Golly.
yeah. So that's why we did that. But yeah, if right arrow is not working for y'all or you want something else, leave a comment on that
Okay.
bug. There is a chart, and if you go up to the top of the editor,
Mm-hmm.
you can press help in that little gray toolbar.
Mm-hmm. 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 Why are my eyes not seeing the word help? There it is. There we are. Yep. That's the
And so in the middle column, you'll see it says edit subfield when grouped.
right arrow.
That's it.
That's what we just demoed.
Now we don't have a really nice printable version of this, and we probably should. We might be able to talk to docs about that.
Okay.
Carol, yes, it works the same way going backwards with Shift Tab. It does not currently work with left arrow, but it could. I don't see any reason we couldn't add that. And Chrissy, this is in the latest point releases. I think it's actually in 3.13.1 and up and 3.14. I can't remember when we
Your
fixed
note.
that. But it's been in there for a while. So if you're way behind on point releases, there might be an issue there. But if you're up to date with your point releases, you'll be okay. And I can double check on that
Yeah. We'll double check and
if anybody needs details
confirm.
on.
Okay. So we'll double check on the actual version where this was made available. And Shift
Mhm.
Tab does work. Left arrow does not. So if I'm here again and still looking at all that,
Right.
I can Shift Tab. Yes.
That's
Huh.
not working for you in 3.13.9. Okay. Um, hmm.
Chrissy, I can give you
Okay.
control of if you want to show us. Are you at a place, Chrissy, where you could demo this? I know
I am not. Oh,
that,
Chrissy. Yeah,
yeah.
I'm not. Mhm.
Or if you want to send us a screenshot. I know that sharing on promptu is not always something anybody
Sorry.
can do.
My brain was doing the opposite of what you said because I wanted to go back to that, so I went left arrow, not right arrow.
Oh, yes. Left arrow's not working. Right
Right.
arrow. No, well,
Because
I
I
shouldn't say
figured
it
I
that way.
wanted to go back to the little box, not, you know what I mean? Does that
Yeah,
make
I see.
sense? So
So would
once
it
I
be
just realized what you said, right arrow, and I actually hit the right arrow, yeah, it does work.
Okay, perfect.
I think we could
Thank you.
add left arrow if you want. Just leave a comment on that bug. That's why I left it open,
Okay.
so that we could discuss that. Yeah,
And Carol tested at 3.14.4 on the test server.
awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you all.
Yes.
3.14.4 plus
Plus,
we
yes.
because we have added
It's
our the item and template development to 3.14 on our
perfect.
test server.
That's
Oh,
right.
wow, you were able to backport it?
Well, Jason was.
Jason, that's awesome.
Jason.
Good job, Jason. I was pretty
Right.
sure it would backport except for some little bobbles with color definitions. So I put a note on the bug and I'm glad he was able to get that to work.
Yeah. Well, I haven't gone in and tested it yet. He just finished that and the dev server's been acting up in some ways, but
Mm,
yes, it is there to be
awesome.
tested.
Very cool.
Okay. Okay. I think I captured what the questions were there. We demoed, it did work with the right arrow. And please add notes with comments. Okay. Got it. Others you want to highlight while you're still here?
Oh, I'll just go through the rest of these. This next one was the big one about random stuff not working in fixed fields.
Mm-hmm.
So we kind of marked everything as a duplicate of the undo redo bug, but there's several more there,
Mm-hmm.
and there may be even more that we haven't found yet. What happened was this bug caused an error very early in the process, and so it has weird downstream effect when code doesn't run when it
Right.
gets to the next function that it was supposed to execute. So when it stops early like that, you get all kinds of very weird ripples. So what happens if you encounter something that's not working in fixed fields and you turn on your little browser console, you will see the same error on all of those four bugs. And that's why we mark them as duplicates because it's the same cause. Um, and I put there in the notes what you will see. Um,
So that's what Stephanie's talking about there,
yeah,
the
if you
console.
go keep going up. So the status for we don't know what's happening there, but I'm getting that a lot with
Mm-hmm.
test servers. That one's not the error. It's
And I
when you
haven't tried to make any
tab,
changes either.
yeah, if you go to the fix fields and tab around, you'll see a new one down there. Yeah, you can see your console's growing as you tab in and out.
Every time I
Um,
move around or attempt to. Yeah.
yeah. So down there, aside from all of those other
Yeah.
errors,
You
yeah,
get all these
that
cannot
one.
set properties.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. And so we fixed that one. It's been committed. It's just not released yet. That'll be in the beta.
Cool. And so
Uh,
that's the reason all of those are marked as duplicates because it's all kind of stemming from the same problem.
mhm, mhm. And then the next one down was similar, slightly different. So those next two they've been signed off. They're not committed just yet. Um, we will get them committed as soon as we're out of the beta freeze.
Okay.
And I'll make sure that they're up on test servers for Feedback Fest next week.
And this is just selecting the boxes. It's not what's being
Yeah.
saved in them. It's more of a selection issue.
Yeah.
Okay.
And super, super kudos to Katie for writing up all of these buttons
I
and
know. I was going
describing
to
what's
say it.
happening.
And she's given
Um,
us videos. I think we
I
looked at that one
know
last
she's
time
amazing.
before. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was
She
super
had
helpful
she had a lot of
because
fun. I won't lie,
I
making
know
those. she was
And
like, look at this, look at this. I was like,
I'm
okay.
I'm glad that was fun for her because some of these were like very subtly different. Like the one about like control enter creating two lines was different from the one about control down arrow from creating two lines. It was like
Wow.
they're wild. So the super detailed bug reports were really helpful in narrowing down what exactly was going wrong here. Um,
So I have to say, I do love the tone of Liz's voice. Like, oh yeah, you're having fun documenting all the problems we have.
I'm like, I don't use the
Helpful.
keyboard, so it
Oh yeah,
didn't
I don't either.
I didn't notice any of these. And she's like, no, this is horrible. I'm like, okay, I'm sorry, I don't use the keyboard.
Okay.
Oh
It is
goodness,
very helpful to have other people come in
it really
and
is.
yep,
Uh,
after what. Mm-hmm.
so then there's the next one about arrow keys. Again,
Mm-hmm.
there's a patch. It's just not in yet.
Okay.
These next three in a row also there's a patch. We got to do some sign-offs and get them committed, but they're there. They'll be fixed.
Let me ask, this is a little bit inside, so pardon us, I don't normally do this, but Marianne asked a question from St. Joe, which is part of MAC, part of Missouri Evergreen. The fixed field fixes, are they back portable to
Yes,
313? Okay.
they are bag portable, and I've got them all targeted, so you will get them in whatever the next 313 point release is.
Yes. So that means, Marianne, that the next time we do that monthly upgrade, these will be included.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. And Mary says she'll miss entirely since she only uses the flat text. Well, there you go. Yep. So what Liz was saying for those of us that are not stuck in our, who have just a different, way of
Yeah.
doing things.
The
All right.
the big thing is these last four in the
Okay.
still to
Last
do
four.
list. And that last one especially is going to need some discussion. So I'm going to post a separate message to the list so that we can
Okay.
discuss what we want to have happen there, and
Mhm.
then we will get that implemented.
Beautiful. Thanks.
Yeah. And I will say of the four that are still on the to-do list, the one I'm not sure I can tackle is the one about the Z3950 overlay having the merge profile
Merge profiles.
going in the wrong direction.
Okay.
I may need to pull Mike into that one, but he's been out quite a bit this
Yeah.
week. So
Sure.
I will hope that we can get that fixed in time for Feedback Fest at some point, but I can't promise it.
Okay.
So
The
I
other
was
three, I'm pretty sure I can get done.
so I was looking at that yesterday, I
Mhm.
think, on our test server, and some of them seemed to be working for us and some weren't.
Mm,
So, I mean, our usual one works, so I'm not
okay.
concerned about it. But the preview was working for
Ah,
me. So
good.
I don't know if that's a 3.14.4 thing or if I'm misunderstanding something or what. But
I don't recall there being any changes between 313 and 14, but I can go take a look. That's helpful.
yeah, so
Okay.
I didn't put a comment just because I
Yeah,
can,
sure.
but I can look at that again now that the dev server seems to be, behaving a bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And as soon as possible, we'll ask for a community server. And I know we don't normally get them until, we don't get them at this stage. But the good news is next week is Feedback Fest. So we
Mhm.
should have the ability to see some of this during Feedback Fest too. For those of you that aren't privy to doing the kind of testing that Carol's describing now, we'll have an opportunity as a community next week. Marianne, sorry, I've been overlaying and want you to see if there's a problem. All right, yeah, so let's talk about what this one is. If you're seeing this one, you're using merge profiles, you want to make sure that the overlay is either that the overlay profile is either preserving what you want it to preserve or overlaying what you want it to overlay. And this is one of these, I think we're seeing some kind of different results on them. So you can kind of read through this bug here, which I can put in the chat. I know it's also on our notes to read along there. It talks about the impact. Part of this is also seeing the preview, but Carol, you're saying you're seeing the preview now too. So I'm just going to read this instead of talking through it. So it says overlaying a record allows the selection of an overlay profile, then previews the merge record. In 313, the display no longer says merged and is changing the overlay profile. And changing the overlay profile does not update the record to be imported. But at the bottom now says merge and overlay. Seeing the impact of a merge profile is an important part of doing an overlay. So this is, I think, primarily talking about the preview, which you want to be able to see before you actually click the button that says merge and overlay.
Right. It's not doing the preview correctly.
Got it. And Carol says preview stopped working a while ago. Maybe we just didn't notice.
No, like a few months ago, and we haven't upgraded. So I don't know if there's something else that went weird.
That's hard to say, isn't it? Because that's odd.
Yeah. So anyway.
Yeah. But that's what to look for. So if anybody hasn't encountered that, that's exactly what to look for. And then comment on here, because we're not seeing consistent oddness. We're seeing oddness, but not consistency in the oddness. So yeah, those of us that can test it out and say what version we're on and what we're seeing would be very helpful here too.
That would be helpful. And there is a related bug. I think we forgot to cross-list it in both directions, but Jennifer Pringle added it to the other bug the other day. So if you go up to the tags on this one and just hit Z3950, and then maybe sort by number. Yeah. That one.
We're setting.
That's related to this one, I think.
Overlaying a record is no longer pulling the default merge profile from the library setting. Okay. Instead, the merge profile is blank. That just means somebody's having to click in there and choose your merge profile each time. There is
that one. Yeah, this one I'm going to be able to fix it really easily. The one where it's not doing the preview, that's a bit more involved.
And this one would be obvious. Either it's selected or it's not, and you're having to do it. Yeah.
So the one with the preview, it doesn't import. It doesn't merge the records. Also, like it doesn't show you the preview, and it doesn't merge at all either.
That's important to know. That's big. Yeah. That's different.
Yeah. So it's not just the preview doesn't display. It doesn't merge or overlay, however you want to call it, at all.
Yeah, that's what I found in testing, that some of them worked for us and some of them didn't. So the preview just shows whatever, like the OCLC record, without any changes that I just made. And then sometimes the overlay happened with the changes and sometimes it didn't. So
if you all see some that don't work, and you do encounter this error, would you mind checking the browser console and telling us if you see any of those console errors, especially the ones highlighted in red? Just like we did for the tabbing in and out of the fixed fields over here. Yeah, you want to go to inspect, and then open up the console tab of that. That's where all your like browser level errors are going to happen. And we do have some that are just kind of always there. So like, don't worry about anything that you see about like pcrud or server connection errors or stuff like that. Sometimes those just happen. But if you see one of these all caps errors and cannot do something, that's coming from the page that you're on. And it would be helpful to know if any of those are coming up with the merge overlays.
And we can put together a quick note for anybody that's not familiar with what I just did. I did a right click and just hit inspect, and then it opens at the bottom. And if you don't see it right away, then you just grab it and pull it up and then go to the console tab. And it will typically default to this errors button there. Then I can just drag it back down to get it out of the way, but leave it open while I'm bouncing around on the screen.
Or you can close it entirely. There's a little X on the right there when you're done and you want to get rid of it.
Yeah, when I'm completely done. Yes, I can go ahead and do that now.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep. Super helpful when you encounter a bug. See if there's a message there. That'll tell us what's going on.
Okay, so this one we need to, let me go back up there, and says needs more testing to confirm results. Okay. Both in seeing the preview, not setting, seeing the preview, and if the overlay actually works. You send to please add comments and include any console errors that can be identified. Okay.
And I'll go ahead and grab that related bug and dump it in here too. Because I didn't have that one on my list. It's new. Okay.
Okay. So I'll just say you're going to send this last one to the list for discussion. So we know you've got to go.
Yes, very soon.
Yep. Okay. Thank you so much. We'll let you go now. We may keep talking about you and the bugs, but we won't keep you now. Thank you very much for taking time today and for all the work you've done on this and continue to do. We really appreciate it.
And I'm sorry that so many bugs got through on these versions. It drives me nuts just as much as it does you. Well, you are using it every day. It drives you more crazy, but I hate that we have so many active bugs right now in this, and we're going to get them cleaned up as fast as possible. Thank you for your patience.
Thank you. And we'll keep testing. You'll have all you need.
Okay.
Thanks, Stephanie.
I'll see you all later.
Good luck on the presentation. All right. Anything else we want to keep talking about on any of these? I know we just kind of jumped into bug work here. While Stephanie continues, even though she's not here to add notes. Any of these that you wanted to go back through? We did some of that kind of quickly without a lot of preamble. And I didn't stop to ask while she was here about the keyboard shortcut with that right arrow. I think one of her questions was, do we like the right arrow, or if there's a different shortcut we might want? I feel like we could make that suggestion. So I think that's part of one of the actions here too, is the comment about now that we know what the shortcut is, are we comfortable with the the right arrow? And do we want a left? Okay. So let me ask that question. Is the right arrow good enough now that we know what it is? Or does anybody have a suggestion for a different shortcut entirely? Now that I know
the directional arrows, like if I want to go back or in this instance left, I should have to hit the left arrow.
Yeah.
I think just native brain would be how I would think it should work.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
So yes,
from someone who doesn't use them.
Yeah, I'm telling you, you saw how she had to direct me through that, and I will not be embarrassed by it because I don't use the Mark editor enough either. I'm the one that's reading that help message when I'm trying to figure out where to go. So I do think a left arrow is helpful. I mean, if we're going to have a right arrow, it would be nice for left arrow to take you left. Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, if directionally speaking, the arrows should also do similar things. Now that Elizabeth and I have decided that, anybody else have an opinion now that I've written it in the note?
Yes, I mean, well, I was the one who asked, so.
Yeah.
Yes, but yes, I mean,
okay.
if you can do up and left or up and right and down, then left should also do something.
That goes left, right?
Yeah. What I really would appreciate would be to jump from the group directly to the subfield value, not to the subfield code, or maybe to choose maybe some shortcut for jumping right to the subfield value.
Love that idea, because you're not changing the subfield there, are you? No, you just want the value. Is the reason you're clicking in there.
Yeah, I mean, I think you'd be changing the subfield. It's not the you know what I mean. Yes, you're more likely to change the values in the field rather than the subfield itself. Code.
Yeah.
That's the word I was looking for. Code.
Code. Yes. I love that idea, Ava. You're right, because you see how quickly I did that. I'm automatically jumping over the subfield code. I'm not going to stop there. Because either we're adding one or deleting one. We tend not to change one. Okay, I'll make that comment in the bug. Thanks. So skip over the scope. Or, okay, I think I captured that. I tend to shortcut during my notes. Anything else about selecting those fields, which is really what we're talking about now? I know we've got a lot of bugs on not the fixed fields, which need a lot of work. But this is just selecting subfields. Chrissy, I think you used to tab into the subfield code, then tab again into the field itself, if that's what you wanted. Yeah. And so now let me just remind myself of what we were doing here. So if I click in there, of course I can still click in there, and I'm more of a mouse person in this case, but which is why I'm messing up the demo again. Okay, so if we are tabbing over, we select the whole thing, and then we have to write, right? Then we have to do the right arrow, and then we can start tabbing. Okay, so before you tab into the subfield code, then tab again into the field, yeah. We just have so many things to tab to. And so now I think they're just done in the, well, clearly you can see the way the new design is. It's all done in one big group, and then you essentially are having to do something to open the group. I'm trying to write arrow. Or we just use the flat text editor, right? Or we use this for our fixed fields, and then, yeah, hey, voila, and there you go. And it also depends on, and I don't want us to overlook the fact that if we have new people that we are training and they are learning on this, there is something to be said for using this as a tool for training new catalogers that are not familiar with flat text. I have to remind myself to say that from time to time because it is true. Yes, but then again, I can also tell every time we take a poll about who's using the flat text versus enhanced editor, flat text wins out majority. But since this is here, we want to be able to provide our input into how you might use this and how, if you're training and working with newer catalogers, newer to Evergreen catalogers, what the experience might be like. Okay, so that's that. Let's go back to our notes. Marianne, sometimes we have to use the enhanced editor to change the fixed fields that won't take your changes. Yep, absolutely. And I think that that's part of what she's working. All these that look like they're now duplicates. And I started looking at those yesterday. I thought that's not a duplicate, it's doing different things, but I understand what Stephanie's saying as a root cause there. But yeah, I think if we get those fixed fields, the changes made so the fixed fields will save. The enhanced editor is just a nice way to be able to see and use those little help menus that once we get those fixed here, if you not right, I'm so used to right clicking, you don't have to right click anymore. When you click in there, these are really nice too, just be able to choose what you want. It's those combo boxes that make developers a little, that are tricky for the developers. I need one that has illustrations in it. Let's see, they have multiple, 4 different spaces in there and they mean different things. I have illustrated because this is music. That's why. Let's go to Ready Player One. Oh yeah, Carol, you're right. Definitely makes it easier for linking. All right, so here's what I wanted to look at real quick. So yeah, it's these combo boxes that are really proving to be difficult for developers. It's because each one of those spaces means something different, and there are 4 spaces there, and then trying to give us any kind of wizard there kind of box is tough, and then saving it in the right position, that's what's proving really, really difficult. Whereas we know, just where to go and throw in on your little box there, where the illustration would go. Anyway, it's called a combo box. So let's see, we looked at selecting the fields. We've talked about now the issue with the fixed fields themselves, and all of those we think have been documented going field by field and what's happening there. And thanks to all of you, I see quite a few of you here that have worked on those and reported on them. If there's anybody here who has not used Launchpad, I really hate to exclude you. And if this is new for you, please send questions about using Launchpad or looking things up to the listserv. There are plenty of us that'll be glad to answer those questions. And I've got some older presentations that we've done on using Launchpad. If you don't have a login and you would like one, let us know that too. We can certainly point you in the right direction. Because we just keep clicking on these bugs to look at Launchpad. Okay, these two that she says are signed off on, field and subfield selection box behavior. Okay, arrow keys. Yep. Other two that we need sign offs. These are the ones that are creating duplicate rows. And then something weird's going there. If you delete a fixed field, it resets the previous value, which is not at all what the intended action is. All right, so then as a reminder, as a group, we'll go away and we will test this overlay thing and then report back on the bug. If you don't have access to the bug, just send a note to the cataloging list. It's important to know what version you're on and what your results are with this overlay. If you have a test system, of course, that's best to do. If you don't, you're welcome to use the community servers for testing, or just, test on your production system, but make a copy of it so you don't lose anything. And then we've got some Z3950, and well, that other one she talked about today. And this one, just look for the post from Stephanie if she hasn't posted already. I don't have my email open about the right-click menu and what it's doing. This is what she's talking about with that. What I was trying to introduce there with that right-click in the combo boxes there. But she'll give us a lot more information about being able to select a different drop-down for each character. So let's look for that. Okay, and then I had started to put these in here, but I think she captured everything I was going to do for 929. Yeah. So all these were on, I knew that she had a really big list, so I think all of those she captured. Minutes. As I'm going to go very, very briefly over some notes at the top and then come back. So if there are any other bugs you want to look at, go ahead and drop them in chat and I'll grab them after I do my quick little updates from the top there. Quick little updates all the way from the top. We've talked about 315 was being released essentially now, but the release notes are available for review. And then 314.4 and 313.9 are there. And the community demo servers are, of course, still on where they were the last time we met. But as soon as we get through the feedback fest next week, we'll start asking to get our community demo servers updated. I want to pause and give huge kudos, even though it's not on my list here anymore. I should add it to Elizabeth Davis, who is working on the tabular release notes. And I have offered little to no assistance with that at all. So I don't know if you want to speak to where you are, Elizabeth, currently, or can I just applaud you loudly? Woohoo, Elizabeth!
I'm happy to report that I have 3.11.2 to finish, and I guess 3.15.beta, and then I will be completely caught up until you release something else, and then we'll be out of date again. So, yes.
Let's not wait on 3.15. Let's just go ahead and get it out there. That's fabulous, fabulous. You are so.
I have to get my car inspected on Friday, so I plan to work on that while I was waiting for my car to get inspected. So I hope to have the 3.11.2 done, and then I don't know how you want to hand it over, so I will leave that to you.
Okay, it'll be.
You want to show me how to do it?
So, yeah, okay. Absolutely. We'll just get it pointed to. Yeah, we'll take care of it. Yeah.
Okay. Right.
Thank you so very much.
Yes, it was.
It was very far behind.
Yes, knock on wood, we had a lot of quiet days these last few days, and I was looking for something to easily occupy my time, so I was able to knock out a bunch of it. So,
okay, well, here we go. Tabular release notes. Almost finished. Oops. Typing. I need to take time now to say thank you again in notes. Okay, marvelous. I'm just going to leave it all in bold for now, too, because that's such a big thing for us. Okay. Very quickly, Feedback Fest we've talked about. Look for notes from Taryn. She always does a great job in giving us everything we need to get going, as does the community, so that we can test. With there being so many things that Stephanie's worked on and some we haven't touched on today that are related to cataloging, this will be a really good time for us to get in there. So I will attempt um, to put together a list to our cataloging list serve when Taryn starts circulating this information next week. Yeah, thanks, Liz. Yeah, it is really easy if others are interested in getting involved. It absolutely is for Feedback Fest. It's nothing like taking on what Elizabeth just did and updating those release notes. It's really a matter of testing kind of the things we did now and giving your opinion on things too. It's very, very important about what you're seeing. And they give us they give us the servers to use, so we don't have to worry about trying to load anything. We just log in. A couple of other celebrations. The Evergreen Conference is, of course, coming up very quickly. It'll be in May 12th through the 15th, which we've been talking about for a while. The schedule and program descriptions are now up. We got those finished last week. Well, the program descriptions last week. Schedule's been up for a while. So if you want to see any more details about what's going on at the conference, thanks to everybody that's here that has submitted a proposal and intending to present. Early bird registration ends on the 31st. So if you want to get that bit of a price break, make sure you get registered by the 31st. If you need invoices, just email the conference committee. We can do that by the 31st. Skipping ahead. I won't go through what I usually do with all of the whose meeting went. Oh, nope, that's not what this is. Catalogers map, we haven't had any updates since the last time, but if you want to click on the map and if your location is not on there, just give me a little note there on the bottom of this document and I will happily add you. Normally I would spend time showing off the map because it makes me happy, but I'm going to skip that for right now. It is just a map. It's anonymous in that it doesn't have your name, but it does show where your library is located. And we're showing those across multiple continents now. Everybody has access to update this document. So if your library is listed here and your current version is not your current version, please leave us a note or let us know if you plan to upgrade anytime soon. And this is where I will pause for a few minutes and see if anybody has any big updates that they want to share, their experience from a recent update. Would love to hear about that.
I just want to say our current version is now 3.13.
Yay! Congratulations, Mary.
Thank you. Looks like
Updated.
3.13.6. Looking at the About version right now.
Nice. So that's as of last month?
Yes.
Nice. Upgraded and put that in the past. How's it going?
I think it's going pretty well.
I'll
From
take that.
the areas I cover, acquisitions was our biggest thing was the new version of the invoicing,
Oh gosh,
and I
yes.
haven't really had any problems reported with that.
Uh-huh.
I had one the other day where um, her billed didn't move to paid, and it looked one of the line items the fund was overexpended. So I think that was where we ran into it. So she couldn't put more money in at the time because she's tracking real money. So we just
Mhm.
jacked up the warning or the stop place up to 170, and that let her get through.
Oh, okay. Well, that was really clever. Way to do that. Yeah, I think just in the last week or two, I'm starting to hear more about just some again oddities in the acquisitions piece of that, especially in creating the invoices at the point at the point you're creating the orders and doing the POs and then creating the invoices from the POs. I can get all of that out at
hmm
the same time. So it'll be curious to see how that goes. Okay. Yeah. I'm trying to type at the same time here. I promise I will get everybody's notes out of there into the chart. I'm probably not going to take time to do this now though, because my multitasking is not all that great today.
And I will say that having the date in there
Mm-hmm.
when the upgrade happened, or not necessarily the exact date, but the month, year, it is very helpful for us. And other people at CW Mars really appreciate that we keep track of this.
Nice.
Like they've started looking at, non-catalogers are starting to look
You
at the
know,
cataloging interest group meeting notes so they can see where
Like you track the
various
history.
various
Imagine, yeah.
libraries. It's like, oh, well, who's updated recently and
Oh,
who hasn't updated recently, who might be going to a new version soon, kind of
I
thing.
just
So,
love that we are a community resource. I really do. That's fabulous.
yes.
So realizing I haven't changed my name there. Okay. Anybody else? I know Missouri Evergreen that you just upgraded last month to your production system, and we were talking a little before we got started that you're encountering some things that are just different and that we're working through. I don't know if there's anybody here that wants to say anything to that. I'm changing my name here on the Zoom. There. I'm officially Jennifer. All right. So if there's anything else that needs updating, please just drop it in chat. Yeah, Marianne, you're having lots of issues with that. I'm going to follow that and then also talk with the IC interest group and see if we can't do a crossover meeting sometime. If not before the conference, then do it during the Hack Fest at the conference. So I've got a note here to reach out to the ACK interest group to do that. Just kind of see what's going on because as people start moving to 313 and 314, we want to make sure we're at least aware of what that experience has been like with others. So thank you all so very much for being willing to share that and lessons that you're learning as we're going. So I think we've got a lot of movement there, but I'm going to just kind of move on. Thanks for all the updates there. This is where I was going to say that I'm not going through all the lists, all of our meetings. If anything needs updating, please fix it. I just pull from the community calendar. I'm going to pause for a moment and say the authorities working group, and I have a note down here below, is we're now meeting twice a month, or we're attempting to meet twice a month, usually one business meeting and one just a working session. So we get together and we work on documentation. The authorities working group is planning a 2-hour session at the Hackfest, which is the day after the end of the conference there. So it'll be on the May 15th. We'll be doing an official promotion of that in just a week or so. But the one thing we want to do is start collecting ideas and questions from the group. So anybody that's using authorities, even if your questions are, I'm not using them now, what do I need to know to prepare? Or I was using Marchive and now I can't use Marchive. What are some of my options? Or if you have questions about local thesaurus and with changes to subject headings going at the federal level, what other people are doing. We just want to make sure that we're addressing the kinds of things you want to talk about. Because one of the things we're going to do is just kind of a demo of how authorities work. But then we also want to be able that we address kind of community concerns and have kind of there's the reason it's 2 hours. We really just don't have a workshop, but we can just demo some things and talk about some things too and share some best practices. So just look for an email coming out to the listserv now. I said, Jennifer, if you don't want to send things out to the cataloging list, you can send things directly to me or to Carol. I'll put our emails in here just for the notes. So that's coming soon. Our next meeting is coming up and it's at the top of the list. We don't meet again until Monday, April 14th. So a couple of weeks. So if you want to join us, that's wonderful. But what we really need now is ideas and questions from you to include in that workshop beyond just here's how authorities work. Susan, I see you're here. Do you have a microphone? Do you want to say anything about the permissions working group?
Sure, thank you. We met yesterday, so it was our second meeting about cataloging permissions, and I'll put a link in the chat. We've just been working on this spreadsheet listing all of the different functions that catalogers do, anything and everything you can think of, categorizing them, and then also noting which role that most, libraries assign them to. So just doing, an overall review of cataloging permissions in order to make recommendations for best practices and how to organize them. So feel free to add anything to that sheet that you think of. There may be, some we're missing, but hopefully we got a good bit. And then for the next meeting, I was hoping to touch on, we can talk more about the spreadsheet and then touch on kind of the circulation and cataloging overlap. So that was kind of the thought, but also I'm open to any other suggestions from you all about what would be helpful.
I think that's an excellent idea because we talk at least a couple of times a year about that intersection there of, the whole program of circulation for catalogers and cataloging for circulation staff. So that's such a wonderful idea.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you for all the work your group is doing. I have not been able to attend, but I know that this approach is just fabulous because this is one of those things that recognizing some of the granular levels of permissions that we do not have after you're done with all this is going to be important too. Because we questions all the time about how can I stop people from editing a particular field in a bib record? You can't. That's not the way that works right now. So this will be helpful in being to identify what's there and then what's not available too. This is a great list. Okay, I'm not going to digress too far into it, but thanks for sharing that. And your next meeting is on Tuesday, April 22nd. Is that correct? Okay, yeah, fourth Tuesday. Okay. Marvelous. Thank you so much. Questions should just go to you then, Susan.
Yes, feel free to email me or the listserv, and I can get that real quick. I should know it by heart, but
No, I don't know mine either. It's fine. We'll get it posted.
thank you. I can put it in chat one sec.
I'll grab it then. Okay, so that was kind of, I said really quick, but I'm not ever as quick as I think I can be. So that was kind of it. Today's program really is I wanted to have the opportunity to talk about the things that were going on in 315 because I knew Stephanie and to some extent Andrea, who is away at a different conference today, and they've been trying to wrangle the bugs in as much as listening to us as a cataloging group and paying attention to the listservs in our meetings and the bugs that pop up that get tagged in Launchpad with either regression or things that are about that holdings editor. So I knew that they were pulling them all together. It's one of the reasons I wanted to go ahead and have a meeting this month is so that we had an opportunity to talk about it, recognizing next month I'm really looking forward to Sierra being with us to talk about Aspen because I know this is new for some folks. And those of you that are already using it, it'll also be good to just kind of share your experience so far. And again, this isn't a sales pitch for Aspen. It's just to talk about the way catalogers have started seeing the use of Aspen and kind of what it means and as a discovery level, as a discovery layer. So we'll look
Side
for that.
loading.
Side loading. You want to tell people what that means while I'm copying this, Carol?
That means that instead of adding records to Evergreen, you can add some e-resource records or other records directly into Aspen. So, for example, Canopy records, we are loading only in Aspen. So we're doing these side loads.
Question about Canopy. It's my understanding Overdrive owns them now, so I was wondering if there's any possibility there's going to be development that there'll be an
That
API for that.
presumably, but it hasn't happened yet. Yeah, so some like Libby and Hoopla have direct. You can be set up so that those records automatically load into Aspen using API. But yes, Canopy, even though Overdrive has owned them for a little bit now, yeah, that Canopy still needs to be sideloaded. But we can discuss that more next time.
Just looking if there was a glimmer of hope that this was going to come true.
Well, because Sarah would probably know more because she is our Aspen guru and in the Slack and attending a gazillion Aspen meetings and such.
And for anybody out there who is currently loading these records into Evergreen, Aspen gives the option to take away that requirement to load things into Evergreen when it is something big like Overdrive or Hoopla. An API allows them just to talk back and forth to one another. Side loading means you're still loading records somewhere, either into Evergreen or into Aspen.
Yes.
That's another question. Are you loading both to Evergreen and to Aspen, or have you just
No,
picked Aspen?
no.
Cool.
The only electronic resources we're loading into Evergreen right now are the government documents that our main depository library still wants. But that's a whole other thing.
It is, isn't it?
Marchive. Bye.
Deep sigh. Okay, so this is the kind of conversation we expect to have next month. So join us as we talk about Aspen and ask all the questions and get some answers. All right. Oh, please do. And it will be recorded for anybody that can't make it. And we have about a little less than 5 minutes. If anybody has any other questions or anything that they want to share with the group before we say goodbye for this month.
Please do lots of testing on all of the item tags, notes, alerts, templates, holding template editor in Feedback Fest, because there's lots and lots and lots.
And we will remind you of that when Feedback Fest starts. Carol and I will remind you of that when Feedback Fest starts. Okay, well, I think we are starting to overlap. I think people are starting to join us for the Ports Interest Group. So nothing left for me to say except thank you all so very much for being here today, for all your work on a regular basis. And I look forward to seeing you in another meeting sometime very soon, I'm sure. Have a lovely rest of the day.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to stop recording. See you all next time.
Thanks, Jennifer. I was just popping in just to see where you guys were, so I appreciate that.
Yes, as we were getting started, I'm like, we have to finish on time.
All right, very good. I'll see some folks over in the other meeting.